You are standing at a jewelry counter. A salesperson slides an expensive watch across the glass. It costs more than some people's cars. The person beside you could easily buy it without checking a bank balance. But instead, they pause, shake their head, and walk away. No watch, no box, no status symbol. That moment confuses many people because we often assume that the richer someone becomes, the more expensive things they buy. But many quietly wealthy retirees in America live by a different rule. They do not buy things just to look wealthy. They buy things that protect their freedom. That is the difference most people miss. There is a huge gap between what looks like wealth and what actually builds wealth. The appearance of wealth often comes with payments, fees, maintenance, interest, depreciation, and pressure. Real wealth brings calm, options, and control. The retirees who stay wealthy are not cheap. They are not avoiding joy. They spend money on what truly matters: family, health, time, travel, comfort, and peace of mind. But they refuse to spend money on things that only create the illusion of success. That is why the first thing they avoid is a brand new car. A new car feels exciting. The smell is fresh, the dashboard is perfect, and the monthly payment is made to sound affordable. But the moment that car leaves the dealership, it begins losing value. A vehicle is useful, but it is rarely a wealth-building asset. Many new cars lose a large percentage of their value within the first few years. Wealthy retirees understand this clearly. They let someone else take the biggest depreciation hit. Instead of buying a brand new car every few years, they often buy a reliable used car that is 3 or 4 years old. Then they keep it for a long time. A paid-off car is one of the most underrated financial tools in retirement. Every month without a car payment is a month when money can go toward investments, travel, medical needs, or simply staying secure. The car itself is not the problem. The problem is constantly restarting the payment cycle. 2 people can earn the same income for 30 years. One keeps buying new cars and always has a payment. The other buys reliable used cars, drives them for a decade, and invests the difference. From the outside, their driveways may look similar, but their bank accounts will tell very different stories. That is the first lesson. Wealthy retirees do not confuse transportation with status. The second thing wealthy retirees avoid is luxury status symbols. This includes expensive watches, designer logos, luxury handbags, flashy cars, and anything purchased mainly to impress other people. There is a myth that rich people constantly surround themselves with expensive things. But many truly wealthy people live much more quietly than outsiders expect. They may drive ordinary cars. They may wear simple clothes. They may live in comfortable but not excessive homes. They do not need strangers to know how much money they have. That is because status purchases often create a chain reaction. An expensive watch makes an ordinary car feel too basic. Then the expensive car makes the house feel too small. Then the bigger house needs better furniture. Before long, one status purchase becomes an entire lifestyle. That is how lifestyle inflation begins. The dangerous part is that it can happen after a raise, a bonus, an inheritance, or a strong financial year. The income goes up, spending rises to match it, and real security never arrives. Wealthy retirees understand that the point of money is not to look rich. The point of money is to stop worrying about money. They prefer freedom over performance. They do not need applause from strangers. They would rather have options than logos. The third thing they avoid is extended warranties. At checkout counters, stores often offer protection plans. They sound responsible. They make you feel safe. But in many cases, they are designed to benefit the seller more than the buyer. An extended warranty is a form of insurance. Insurance makes sense when the risk is too large for you to handle alone. But many small product failures are not financial disasters. If a small appliance breaks, wealthy retirees usually replace or repair it from their own cash cushion. They self-insure the small things. They save their real insurance money for serious risks. A house fire, major illness, lawsuits, or events that could truly damage their financial life. The key idea is simple. Do not pay someone else to protect you from a cost you can easily absorb yourself. Across a lifetime, skipping unnecessary warranties can save a surprising amount of money. Instead of flowing into corporate profit margins, that money stays in your account, where it can be saved, invested, or used for something meaningful. Wealthy retirees do not avoid protection. They avoid fake protection that costs more than it is worth. The fourth thing wealthy retirees often avoid is expensive cash value life insurance, when simple term insurance would meet the real need. Life insurance can be very important, especially when other people depend on your income. The problem is not life insurance itself. The problem is being sold a complicated, expensive policy when a simpler option would work better. Whole life and universal life policies combine insurance with a savings or investment feature. They can come with high premiums, commissions, fees, and surrender charges. The sales presentation may look impressive. The charts may show smooth growth over decades, but many buyers do not fully understand what they own or how much they are paying. That is a warning sign. Complex financial products often benefit the seller more than the buyer. People who manage money well usually prefer simplicity. They separate protection from investing. They buy term life insurance for the years when their family needs protection most, such as when they have a mortgage or children at home. Then they invest the difference themselves in low-cost funds they understand and control. Protection has one job. Investing has another job. Wealthy retirees usually avoid mixing the two inside a complicated contract. The fifth thing they avoid is high-fee, actively managed funds. This is one of the quietest wealth drains because the fee does not arrive like a bill. You do not feel it leave your account. It is simply deducted from your returns year after year. An actively managed fund charges you for the hope that a manager can beat the market. But many active funds fail to outperform simple index funds over long periods. A small fee difference may sound harmless, but over decades, it can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Wealthy retirees pay attention to fees because they understand that fees compound against them. A 1% difference may seem small today, but over 20 or 30 years, it can quietly remove a huge piece of your future wealth. They prefer low-cost index funds because they are simple, transparent, and efficient. They do not pay extra for complexity. They do not pay extra for promises. They do not pay extra for underperformance. They know that the money you do not lose to fees is money that stays invested and keeps working for you. The sixth thing wealthy retirees avoid is buying the biggest house they can afford. A large house can feel like a reward after years of hard work. More space, nicer rooms, extra bedrooms, and a bigger yard can all feel like success. But a bigger house also means bigger bills, higher property taxes, higher insurance, higher utilities, higher maintenance, more repairs, more cleaning, more stress. A house does not stop costing money after you buy it. In many ways, that is when the costs begin. For retirees living on a fixed or semi-fixed income, an oversized home can become a beautiful financial cage. The house may look impressive, but it can quietly consume cash flow every month. Wealthy retirees often choose to right-size instead of maximize. Some downsize into a home that fits their current life. Others stay in a modest home they paid off years ago. They understand that a house should support life, not become the thing life serves. The seventh thing they avoid is timeshares. Timeshares are sold with emotion, beautiful resorts, free dinners, discounted trips, and promises of vacations for life. But the real cost often appears after the contract is signed. Maintenance fees continue year after year. Special assessments can appear unexpectedly. Reselling a timeshare can be extremely difficult. In many cases, owners discover that the thing they thought was an asset is actually a long-term liability. Wealthy retirees prefer flexibility. When they want a vacation, they rent the place they want, at the time they want, and walk away with no long-term obligation. They keep the vacation. They refuse the leash. The eighth thing they avoid is buying every new gadget on release day. New phones, laptops, tablets, and devices are marketed to make last year's perfectly working product feel outdated. But wealthy retirees do not let marketing calendars control their spending. They use things until they stop serving their purpose. When they do upgrade, they often buy a model behind the latest version, after prices have fallen and early problems have been fixed. One delayed upgrade may not seem like much, but repeated over decades, across phones, computers, appliances, and other devices, it becomes real money that stays in their hands. They do not chase novelty, they protect freedom. The ninth thing wealthy retirees avoid is lottery tickets and get-rich-quick bets. The lottery sells hope. For a few dollars, it lets people imagine a completely different life. But when that hope becomes a habit, it becomes expensive. A few dollars here and there can become hundreds or even thousands of dollars over time. Money that could have been invested is instead spent chasing nearly impossible odds. Wealthy retirees understand the difference between a bet and a plan. A bet depends on luck. A plan depends on behavior, time, discipline, and compounding. They do not gamble their future on miracles. They build it slowly through assets, savings, and patience. The same rule applies to hot stock tips, speculative coins, risky schemes, and anything that promises fast wealth without real work or risk. Wealth is usually not built through shortcuts. It is built through boring decisions repeated for years. The 10th thing wealthy retirees refuse to carry is credit card debt. Credit cards can be useful tools when used correctly. They offer convenience, fraud protection, and rewards. But when you carry a balance, they become one of the most expensive financial traps in modern life. High credit card interest turns yesterday's purchase into tomorrow's burden. A balance that seems manageable can quietly drain hundreds or thousands of dollars in interest. Wealthy retirees use credit cards as payment tools, not borrowing tools. They pay the statement in full every month. They collect the benefits without paying interest. That one habit creates a clear dividing line between people who build wealth and people who bleed money month after month. When you look at all 10 things together, they have one thing in common: brand new cars, status symbols, warranties, complicated insurance, high-fee funds, oversized houses, timeshares, launch day gadgets, lottery tickets, and credit card debt. All trade future freedom for present appearance or temporary emotion. Wealthy retirees refuse that trade. They are not rich because they bought all the right things. They became wealthy because they learned which things were never worth buying. The real lesson is not about being cheap. It is about understanding how money works. Once you understand depreciation, interest, fees, compounding, and lifestyle inflation, these decisions stop feeling like sacrifice. They start feeling obvious, because the best thing money can buy is not a watch, a car, or a bigger house. The best thing money can buy is freedom.